I learned how to do a backflip in 1 hour. And here's how you can too. All my life, I wanted to be able to do a backflip. I imagined myself being in the center of a high school dance circle and just sending one to win the crowd. As of today, I still haven't been able to stick a backflip. But after 3 years of living a sedentary life in college, I realized I wasn't gonna get there by sitting all day. So I got up, met up with my PT, went to Monkey Vault, and I would spend the next 60 minutes failing. Again, and again, and again. But near the end of my session, I finally did it. Performing a back tuck, especially if you're trying to rush the process, can be very dangerous. Many people not only get injured, but they can even get paralyzed or die. So there was no reason for me to do this alone. This is Arnold. He's a personal trainer, powerlifter, and like me, he's an aspiring creator and an avid learner. One of his first pieces of advice to avoid developing bad habits was to go step by step, starting with preparing my stiff office chair body to get used to moving again. We did laps around for a few minutes, did some dynamic stretching, and did some focused static stretching. Next, we got into the 4 drills that would condition my body and mind for back tuck movements. Drill number 1. The rotation. I needed to roll over backwards to get my body used to being upside down. I had to roll over one shoulder first, but to avoid building a habit of flipping diagonally, I needed to flip over the other after, which I couldn't do. I used to be decently athletic and had good coordination growing up, but after starting college during the COVID-19 pandemic, I was glued to my desk for hours. My body forgot how to move. Not being able to roll over one shoulder doesn't seem like a big issue, but this was the start of my mental block in getting my body to be mobile again. The way I like to do all my movements in other sports as well is to have good form and finesse, but now I feel fat and clunky. Regardless, I needed to move on. Drill number 2, the tuck. I conditioned my core to do a movement that no one really does in their daily life, explosively contracting the core and raising my knees as fast as possible. This part of the movement will help you thrust your momentum backwards and get you rotating fast. The problem that I had with this movement was that I was relying too much on my core to tuck my legs up. I could have instead used my hands to raise my knees higher, faster, and closer to my chest. Using your hands to assist that thrust will make your tuck much easier. Drill number 3, the jump. I practice jumping as high as possible. One of the most common bad habits people face while doing the back tuck is focusing on the flip but not the jump. The jump is super important because the more airtime you get, the more likely you'll be able to land after a full rotation. Another tip was to squat just a little bit. If I squat too low, I may be wasting too much energy trying to bring my weight back up. Another issue I had was that I was also dropping my chest way too low. This killed my upwards momentum and airtime. So instead, Arnold suggested that I squat to half, keep my chest up, and pretend I was jumping up to block a volleyball. Drill number 4, the land. I would now be jumping and leaning back, except Arnold would push me back down to simulate what a landing would feel like without doing the actual flip. Although Arnold needed to assist me, I wasn't imagining doing the actual flip during these drills when I should have. I was tucking too slowly and would potentially land on my head if I actually flipped. I needed to put more effort into these drills to prepare myself for the actual thing. I couldn't keep thinking that I was going to keep practicing jumping into Arnold's shoulder forever. So in order to develop my muscle memory properly, I needed to jump higher and to tuck faster. Now that I had gone through all these drills, I needed to put it together.
Alright, I think we're gonna start actually getting into it.
Here was my first assisted flip, with Arnold spotting my rotations. What we noticed was that I was getting a solid jump, but I wasn't tucking my legs fast enough. I really felt how weak my core was here. I lacked muscle in my abs and my legs, but I was determined to get the gears of my muscle memory turning again. So we kept drilling it again and again and again. Eventually, I was landing the flip more consistently, but I remembered that Arnold was still my crutch and was assisting me the entire time. I started putting less effort into the flip, got tired from drilling it so many times, and my battery died. Yes, metaphorically, I was low on battery, but also my camera's battery died. Thankfully, Arnold also brought his camera. Future me, bring extra batteries. Anyways, I was jumping lower and lower and tucking slower and slower. At this point, I lost sight of my goal and was drilling habits that I wanted to avoid. I knew for certain, if Arnold stopped spotting me, I would fail and likely hurt myself. I expended all of my energy and ended up needing to lie down because I felt like I was going to vomit. In my head, I thought, I'm not gonna get there today. Maybe I should just give up. And then it hit me. I didn't want to leave there feeling failure and disappointment. I finished my college life losing lots of muscle and gaining lots of fat. If I was going to leave my first session back, I needed to leave with an achievement. I needed to prove myself that even with one simple thing, I could be strong and mobile again. So I said, screw it. I got up, I drank some water, I ate some Sour Patch Kids, and I ran it one more time.
Let's do it.
I needed to stop expecting to have a crutch to spot me forever. I needed to attempt a full send every single time. And to my surprise, despite having no energy, really sore abs, probably a sprained ankle, I put maximum effort into a flip, and it felt really good. I was almost there. Everything was finally coming together. I had the jump, I had a decent tuck, and I landed the flip. There was just one thing missing. I needed to gain enough confidence to do it without Arnold spotting me, because I was way too afraid of doing it without assistance. I told myself I needed to drill it dozens more times to gain that confidence. But Arnold told me to quickly do it again, and I didn't notice that he had something completely different in mind. What?
Today, I'm gonna run him through a warm-up. Just gonna break it up. We're gonna drill each part, and then we're gonna build his confidence. So I'm gonna spot him. He's gonna jump into me, and I'm gonna spot him. And eventually, I'm just gonna throw him without telling you.
Oh crap. This was the first time for certain I didn't feel Arnold spotting me, and I almost had a heart attack midair. But that's why I needed to full send it every single time. All that overthinking, and all that it took was for Arnold to let go and for me to fully commit. And after this intense struggle and nausea, I finally landed my first ever backflip. Despite having only practiced the back tuck for one session, I think it was actually looking pretty clean. This is thanks to the fact that we went step by step. Instead of going in blind, I knew what the deconstructed parts of the movement felt like. So if there was a problem, I knew what to fix. That's why we drilled the rotation, the tuck, the jump, and the land. I was okay with the rotation and being upside down. I was jumping high enough, but my landing was affected because I was tucking too slowly. All I needed to do was to fix the tuck and I'd be able to stick it. Another thing that was huge for my fast improvement was that I had someone telling me what to do instead of what not to do. When Arnold noticed that I was starting to develop a bad habit, he wouldn't tell me, don't tuck slowly, don't squat so low, or don't bail. Instead, he would tell me, tuck faster, do a half squat, and just full send. If you tell a new driver not to hit the curb, they're going to hyperfixate on the curb and increase the likelihood of driving into it. But if you tell that driver instead to look far ahead and drive straight, they're going to focus on driving straight. This was amazing advice while learning the back tuck and is extremely useful in learning any other skill. Eventually, I went back and got more confident with my flips. I no longer had that fear. And the more I did it, each flip would just get better and better. Soon, I would successfully and consistently land again and again and again. Sometimes I would linger and overthink it, and when I did, I would flinch, making me perform poorly or even bail and hurt myself. The best way for me to overcome that fear was to simply snap out of it and fully commit. If I found myself thinking for more than 2 seconds, I would mentally slap myself across the face and just jump. Now, I successfully learned how to backflip in an hour, but that doesn't mean I perfected it. I still find myself tucking a bit slowly and jumping backwards instead of up. Getting over that hurdle and landing the flip was a huge first step, but mastering it is a whole different story.
One more for the road.
But remember, as a reminder to you and me, you'll never be great at anything unless you're bad at it first. It's a million times better to be horrible at your first try than to never try at all. If you want to try this yourself, just make sure you have help and do it as safely as possible. Make sure you stay hydrated with lots of water and take lots of rest in between your sets of flips. You don't need to rush the process. Just make sure you do it right. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Haru, and starting from today, I'll be pursuing new skills and hobbies with time at stake. I'll also be pursuing old hobbies and passions that I've dropped in the past, and I look forward to making all my childhood dreams come true. It'll start small for now, like learning how to land a backflip, which I did, or learning a new language in 7 days. But in the future, I do want to grow and do bigger things, like creating a whole dance performance, or trying to beat a pro at tennis, all under the pressure of time. If you want to hit me with a challenge for a future video, make sure you drop it in the comments below. Lastly, hit like and subscribe so you can join me on my journey in becoming the ultimate hobbyist. See you soon.
Ooh! Move this way. Yeah. Remember, After the first 2 times, it's gonna be brick.